Every business, as we discussed last time, is there for creating value, and for creating value, it is absolutely essential that the return on investment from the business activities is very attractive. So this is the objective that we have behind this program. What we have covered already on day one and day two was the components of the income statement, and I'm sure all of you would remember, and also the components of the balance sheet as to what are the assets and what are the liabilities, what are the current assets, what are the non-current assets, and things like that. And then, of course, we also discussed components of the cash flow and operating working capital initiatives in Imaris. And we also discussed and understood as to how and why working capital is very crucial for any business anywhere, and so also for our business. And we also understood very clearly that one of the driver of efficient management of working capital anywhere in the world is to reduce the current assets and improve the current ratio. So when I say improve the current ratio, that means it should be our endeavor that our capital locked up in inventory, our capital locked up in receivables must be as less as possible. So lesser the amount of investment in working capital, and that much more efficient and effective is the working capital management of that business. So we understand that those are the drivers for the operating working capital initiatives. Today, friends, that is session 3. We are going to look at the financial analysis, and in the financial analysis, we are going to understand four of the ratios, four groups of the ratios. Number one is the liquidity ratio, profitability ratio, activity ratio, and leverage ratios. So these are the four categories of the ratios that we are going to understand today. Remember, it's important to know what is balance sheet. It is important to know what is profit and loss statement or the income statement. But what is more important is how to marry the P&L and the balance sheet so that you are able to think and find out the triggers for decision in the business, and that is what we would be looking at today. Then, of course, we would also be looking at the decision making, investment valuation. As we all understand, any business and every business is there to grow. And if a business has to grow, number one, it has to earn profit continuously. And not only it has to earn profit continuously, but it also needs to keep on incurring capital expenditure, CapExes, as we popularly call them. So how the CapEx decisions are taken, that is what we would understand in today's session. And then tomorrow, of course, we will have another agenda, and we would talk about it tomorrow. So with this, friends, let's move forward. And the ground rules, of course, remain the same as they were last time. Participate in activities. So there are a lot of activities which are there as part of this training program. So whenever there is an activity, you all must very enthusiastically take part in all the activities, because my experience of teaching and training for so many decades tells me that your involvement and participation improves the quality of your learning as well. Stay focused and ask as many questions as you want. As I said last time, please remember there are no easy simple questions, no difficult questions. Every question is a very important and useful question. So when you ask the question, not only you help yourself, but you also help everyone. So ask a lot of questions. And here we are, friends, today, the session 3. So we would be starting now with the financial analysis. Now, as per the schedule, we need to break away for an activity, and that is where all of you are to review and revise and recollect and discuss among all of you as to what all did you learn in the session 2 that we had. Now, I plan to postpone it a little, and what I intend to do is I intend to do the financial analysis with you now, and after we cover the financial analysis, then we would be going for a group activity, and in that group activity you would be discussing among yourself number one, as to what did you learn, and number two, also the simulation decision two. So this is what we will do a slight modification so as to make it aligned with the learning objective that we have, and that is what we will do as we move forward. Financial analysis. Now let me ask all of you as to what do you understand by financial analysis. All of you, what do you understand by financial analysis?
Sir, regarding financial analysis, what I understand from this financial analysis, we come to know the health of the company, whether the company is doing good, whether the company needs some investment, whether the valuation of the company is good, something like that.
Okay, very good, very good. So, okay, very nice, Shyam Sundarji, very well said. One more person. What do you understand by financial analysis?
Financial analysis reveals how strong the company is.
How strong the company is, yeah, very good.
Yes, yeah.
Very good, Saravananji. Yes, of course, very good. One more person, Vaibhav. How would you understand, or how would you explain as to what is financial analysis and what is the significance of financial analysis for any business or for decision making?
Financial analysis represents the health of the company.
Health of the company, yes, of course, very good. I think fantastic. That's absolutely. Yes, Subodh, please go ahead.
Actually, financial analysis is basically the trend of our expenditure, or you can say to understanding about the top cost, like what are the top three costs of the our entity.
Okay.
And then accordingly we can take the decision for our capex investment and for other things also.
Okay.
Or we can control cost also if we found there is some abnormality in the expenditure.
Very good. Very good and very well said.
Sir, it also indicates the viability and sustainability of the business process.
Yes, Preetham. Okay. Yes, very right. Okay.
And some extent it gives future also. Some extent.
Yeah.
See where the thing is going on.
Yes, Satish. Yes, it also gives you an idea. Not only it gives you an idea, but it also helps you to get an idea about the future of the company. Very well said. Okay, very good. Yes, Lalatendu.
Sir, it shows the effectiveness, how effective we are in our operations.
It also helps you to find out how efficient we are, how effective we are in our operations. Yes, of course, indeed. Yeah. Yes, Lalatendu. Yes.
Thing is for a business. The first thing is for a business is to prepare the financial statement like profit and loss account, balance sheet, and cash flow statement. And it is not the only statement through which we can understand a business financial positions. Apart from this, there are various tools and techniques available through which we can analyze the business in a more crystal way. These techniques are the techniques like ratio analysis, trend analysis. By doing all these things, we can make a more accurate analysis and more accurate position of the business.
Very well said. Very good indeed. So friends, I'm really glad with the responses that you have, that all of you have given, and I would say that you have hit on the head of the nail by giving those responses, and that is absolutely right. So if I can sum it up, all that you have said, what is financial analysis? Financial analysis is the process of linking the numbers given in the balance sheet, given in the income statement, linking the numbers given in the balance sheet and income statement in such a manner so that you are able to take meaningful decision about your business, and decisions that would help you to plan the future of the company, plan the growth and the development of the company. And that is what is financial analysis is all about. Now, if we have to do financial analysis of any business, primarily there are 4 aspects that we need to look at. Which are these 4 aspects? These 4 aspects are: number 1, liquidity. And what is liquidity? And liquidity, of course, friends, is very simple. Liquidity is ability of a business to take care of its all short-term obligations, and that is the liquidity. That is the liquidity. So liquidity is ability of a business to take care of all its short-term obligations. Which means what? Which means liquidity of a business is short-term solvency. Liquidity of a business is its short-term solvency. That means whether the business is in a position to take care of all its obligations within the short term, and that short term would mean 12 months, and that is your liquidity. Then the second thing is profitability. Now, what is profitability? Obviously, any business anywhere in the world is established not for stagnation. Anyone who starts a business, he always starts a business with an objective to grow. And if a business has to grow, it has to earn profit. It has to earn profit, because if the business is not earning profit, that means the long-term sustainability of this business is going to be under a big question mark. So then you need to analyze the profitability. And how do we analyze the profitability? So we can analyze profitability from the perspective of sales, and we can analyze the profitability from the perspective of people who have given capital to the business, isn't it? So obviously, if I am putting my money in a company, whether as a shareholder or as a lender, I would always be interested to know as to what kind of return this company is generating. And so that is the second group of the ratios, and that is profitability ratios. And that is what we will understand together as to what these profitability ratios are and how these ratios are calculated. Then, of course, the third group is activity ratio. And I'm sure, friends, you can very easily understand activity, as the name itself suggests, would mean as to how efficient the business is in using its resources. So any business that has to do well, and all the businesses have to do well. So if any business has to do well, what this business has to ensure? This business has to ensure that all the assets that this business has, all the resources that this business has, all those resources, all those assets are put to the best possible use. Only when the assets are put to the best possible use, this business will be earning attractive profits, isn't it? And when it generates attractive profits, the value of the business, of course, also increases. So that is the third category of the ratios, that is activity ratio, and that is what we are going to understand as to what these ratios are, how to calculate them. And finally, friends, we have a leverage ratio. Now, please remember what is the meaning of leverage in the first place. I'm sure all of us drive cars, right? So when we drive car, whenever we have to pick up the speed, what do? We change the gear. We change the gear from the low gear. We move towards the high gear, from 1 to go to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and things like that. So if you have to increase the speed of the car, you have to go in a higher gear. Same is the case for a business also, friends. If a business has to earn higher profit, it has to go for leveraging. And what is leveraging? Leveraging simply means to go for borrowing. And I'm sure this question must be coming to your mind as to how anyone will benefit by borrowing. And let me tell you, friends, at this point in time, how will anyone benefit from borrowing? Because if your business in which you are investing money is giving you a return which is higher than the cost of the borrowing that you are going for, obviously the difference in the return and the cost of the capital is going to be extra return for you. And let me put in a very simple example, even more simplified example. So if you are borrowing funds for your business, as let's say at the cost of 10%, and from this investment that you will deploy these funds, from this investment you are going to generate a return of 15%. So your cost of capital is 10% and your return from that investment is 15%. So the difference 5% is going to be the incremental revenue that would accrue to the shareholders, and that is the leverage. And that is the reason why people go for borrowing. So we will also understand what are the leverage ratios. At this point in time, please remember, when you borrow in business, of course you get money, of course you get cash in your business, but please remember, not only you get cash in your business, but you also get 2 more obligations. And what those 2 obligations are? Those 2 obligations are, number one, you have to pay that money back to the bank or to the lender from whom you have taken it. And number 2, not only you have to return that money back to the person or to the institution or to the bank from whom you have borrowed this money, but you also have to pay interest on it. And that means what? That means before any business takes a decision to borrow, it has to ensure that this business is generating enough EBITDA. This business is generating enough cash profit so as to be able to serve that borrowing, so as to be able to repay that borrowing. And that is what we will understand when we come to leverage ratio. I can also tell you, friends, at this point in time, please remember, borrowing is a twin-edged sword. Borrowing is a twin-edged sword. Why? Because when you borrow, of course, you would be able to generate more profit for the shareholders. But at the same time, remember, if for some reason your profits take a dip, then your business will come into difficulty. Your business will come into trouble because you will not have money to pay to your lenders. And if you don't pay to your lenders, then your lenders can put the business into trouble. And that is the reason borrowing is a twin-edged sword. How to find out as to whether my business is adequately leveraged or excessively leveraged or not leveraged at all? That is what we will understand when we come to the leverage ratios. So let's begin with the liquidity. As I've explained to you, what is liquidity? Liquidity, of course, is ability of a business to take care of its short-term obligations. And very, very simple, because if I'm into the business of manufacturing, I need to ensure that I'm able to pay to my suppliers on time. I need to ensure that I'm able to pay all my expenses on time. I'm able to pay salaries to my people on time. I'm able to pay interest to my lenders on time. And ability to do all this is liquidity. Ability of a business to do all this is liquidity. And how to calculate the liquidity? So there are 2 ways in which we can calculate the liquidity. So number 1 is known as current ratio. The number 1 is known as current ratio. And I'm sure all of you would remember current ratio would mean to use 2 figures from the balance sheet. And which are these 2 figures? These 2 figures are, number 1, the current assets, and number 2 is the current liabilities. And I'm sure you would remember last time when we had our session, we discussed what is a current liability or what is a current asset. So how do we calculate the current ratio? Current assets divided by current liabilities will give you your current ratio. Now, how much should be current ratio of any business? Of course, friends, there is, really speaking, there are no hard and fast rules as such as to what is an ideal current ratio for any company. But what we need to understand is generally, globally, a current ratio between 1 to 2.5 is considered to be a sound one. A current ratio between 1 to 2.5 is considered to be a sound one. But at the same time, please remember, as business executives, our aim and objective must be to minimize the current ratio as much as possible without letting our operations getting adversely impacted. Because if we are able to bring the current ratio down, it would mean what? It would mean that I am reducing my amount locked up in inventory. I am reducing my amount locked up in receivables. And if I am able to achieve that, that is a good sign for any business. So that is your current ratio. Current assets divided by current liabilities will give you your current ratio. Now, after that, you can also calculate a refinement of current ratio. Now, what is refinement of current ratio? So, the refinement of current ratio is known as acid ratio, or it is known as quick ratio. And what is the difference? Difference between the current ratio and the quick ratio is very simple. So, in case of current ratio, you would take all your current assets in the numerator. But in case of quick ratio or acid test ratio, you will not take your total current assets. What you will do, from the total current assets, you will minus the inventories. So you will take in the numerator current assets minus the inventories, divided it by the current liabilities. I am sure a question can come to your mind as to why do we deduct inventories from the figure of current assets for calculating the quick ratio or the acid test ratio. And that is because remember, inventories are not as liquid as the receivables are, or as the cash and bank balance is. So inventories, if I have to get money against my inventory, now what will I have to do? Remember, firstly, I will need to find out someone who is prepared to buy my inventory, who is prepared to buy my raw material. So that is going to be my challenge number 1. And my challenge number 2 is going to be, I will sell it, and then that person will make a payment to me, right? So inventories are not as liquid as the receivables or the cash and bank balance is. And that is the reason you calculate the quick ratio. So quick ratio is even a better indicator about the liquidity of a business. And so these are the current ratio, and this is how you calculate them. Now friends, you can of course ask me any question at any point in time while I'm discussing this with you. Please remember, at the end of discussion about all these 4 categories of ratios that we are undergoing currently, there is going to be a group assignment where you all will need to calculate some of the ratios of our company from the income statement and the balance sheet of the company. And that is what you must keep in your mind while I'm discussing this particular topic with you. So that's your current ratio. After the current ratio, yes please.
Sorry to interrupt, I think Vaibhav, did you have a question there? You're raising your hand. Yes sir. Sir, as you mentioned, this current ratio has to be between 1 to 2.5. Now, there are companies, for example, service sector, who have a rented building and their working capital is negative.
Right.
Means they have less of, and it is considered as a good working capital if it is negative. That means you are doing business on some other's money.
Right.
So, how that current ratio will be defined for such kind of industry or?
Yes, Vaibhav, an excellent question, and absolutely an excellent question. Remember, as I said, globally, depending on the type of industry, type of company, current ratio between 1 to 2.5 is considered to be sound for a company. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, now.
Okay, good. So, Vaibhav, as I was saying, globally, a current ratio between 1 to 2.5 is considered to be sound depending on the type of industry, type of the product and things like that. And as I said, remember that as a business executive, as the company executives, our objective should always be to minimize this current ratio as much as possible without letting our operations adversely affected. So which means you have very rightly pointed out, in case if a company, and please all of you please pay attention, in case if a company is making profit, in case if a company is making profit and this company is also honoring all its short-term obligations on time, that means the company is making profit and paying to its suppliers on time, the government dues on time, to employees on time, to service providers on time. And if this company has a negative current ratio, it is definitely a good sign. It is definitely a good sign. Please remember, Vaibhav, we need to look at as to why we are interested in the current ratio or in the liquidity ratio or in the liquidity of a business. We are interested in the liquidity of a business to ascertain whether this business has an ability to take care of its short-term obligations or not. So if a business is already making profit, already taking care of all its obligations on time, and if this business has a negative current ratio, that means its current assets are less than its current liabilities, it is definitely a good sign. That means this company is able to run the operations by not blocking its own capital, rather by using somebody else's capital. And that is, I think, Vaibhav, is little bit of a long answer to your short question. I hope that answers your query.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good, very good. Any other doubt, any other question?
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, please.
So let's consider something like a bank. So how does this affect, how does these ratios?
Something like a?
Bank.
Bank, okay. Okay.
Financing where there is no physical inventory.
Yeah.
Which means the correct assets might be or might not be more or less.
Right.
So how?
Right, good. Okay, Rajesh, that's again a very good question. Remember, whether it is bank or it is a manufacturing company or it is a service company or it is an IT company or it is a hospitality company, it doesn't really matter. The basic principle of the working capital management still remain the same. So in case whether it is a bank or manufacturing company or service company or IT company, please remember, ability to take care of all its short-term obligations is the prime thing here. So even if in case of a bank also has an obligation to ensure that all its short-term liabilities are duly taken care of from time to time. So as a matter of fact, for banks it becomes still more challenging. So and why still more challenging? Because they are into the business of dealing with the money, and for a bank, credibility requirement is even higher than a manufacturing company or a service company. And why do I say this? I say this because in case if a manufacturing company or service company for some reason delays payment to a supplier by a day or two, it is not going to make a big difference. But in case of a bank, it is going to make a big difference, because for a bank it's a matter is the question of the credibility. So for bank also, liquidity ratio is important, and as a matter of fact, the banks considering their size will have different departments altogether, and whose main job is to do the asset liability management, ALM as they call it. But at the same time, please remember, even the banks as a principle will not keep undue liquidity with them. So all of us would know that as and when a bank is having some surplus liquidity, you know what they would do? They would invest that surplus liquidity into the government securities. And why would they do that? Because if the bank is having a lot of surplus cash lying with them, remember they are not earning anything on it. And if they are not earning anything on it, their shareholders are going to ask the banks as to what did you do with our money. So even the banks also do the same thing. So if they have surplus money, they will go and invest into the Government of India securities, temporary surpluses. So it doesn't really matter whether it's a bank or manufacturing company or IT company or service company. Even for them, the current ratio and the liquidity becomes very, very important. Okay, so what your question also was that a bank may not have inventory as part of the working capital, and you are right. So they may not have the inventory, but they still have the receivables, because the banks who have given the loans on different account have to receive the money from their borrowers. So for them also it becomes very crucial that they must get their money back from the borrowers on time. So the EMIs should come to them on time, because ultimately the banks will also be doing their own funds planning. So based on what the size of the EMIs that they're going to receive, they would do onward lending planning. So for them also it is equally important. I hope that answers your query.
Yeah.
Okay, good, Rajesh, good. All right, so let's go and come back to our discussion. On profitability. Now, profitability, what are the ratios that we calculate for finding out profitability of a business?